Hi, welcome to the podcast. I'm Nicole, your player one.
And I'm Joycelyn, your player two.
Today, Indie House, we've got Bandcamp Boyfriend. It's by Lovebird Game Studios, and it is a visual novel dating sim.
A short premise of the game is, will you lead your marching band to victory as drum major? Explore band camp and attend rehearsals alongside an unforgettable cast of characters where every choice matters. Find love or face tragedy in 7 routes with 35 plus different endings in this colorful, musically rich game. And there are some trigger warnings for the game. The game is rated T for teen, 13 plus, and the trigger warnings are infrequent use of strong language, suggestive humor, dark psychological themes, kidnapping, character backstories containing child abuse, emotional abuse, and references to sexual assault, mild blood, violence, including gun violence and death, and those trigger warnings apply to the full game, which is available on Steam, and it comes out in the spring of 2023. We played the demo, which is available for free on itch.io for Windows, Macs, and Linux. So the game took me about an hour and a half to get through the demo. It was pretty easy. It's pretty simple since it's a visual novel.
Yeah, I found it pretty easy too. Well, yeah, specifically because it's a visual novel, and in fact, I found it easy for being a visual novel. Well, it took me 2 hours, but I spent a good chunk of time either laughing at the game, more on that later, or taking notes.
I took notes for this game, and I'm so upset because I accidentally deleted all of my notes. Yeah, the only thing I remember I was going to say is that Doug is a himbo, and I
Wait,
love Doug
you wrote
for
that too?
I wrote that so many times. In the full game, when I play it, I'm going for Doug because Doug is exactly my type. Doug is a himbo, and I love him. I would do anything for Doug.
I imagined in the likes section of your notes, it'd probably just say Doug, wouldn't it?
Yeah, well, I liked Garth also because he speaks French. He says bonjour, and I enjoyed that as a French speaker myself, you know?
You see, as a normal person, I
Oh my goodness.
As a decent human being, I actually put that in my dislikes. Other than that, I love Garth.
What the heck?
Let's move on to sounds that are actually likable, such as the music in this game.
I love the music.
Yeah, the music is wonderful, especially the marching show. The marching show is The Planets, and it sounds amazing.
It's so great, actually. I was really happy that we got to listen to it. I didn't think that would be a part of the game.
Yeah, I didn't think my inner band kid would come out while playing this game, but the moment that you start conducting and that you hear the show, I started cheering. I was audibly cheering because it sounds amazing. For it being the first day of band camp, it's really, really great.
There's no amazing. Way.
Yeah, that's
there's no way. It's so unrealistic.
Yeah, I found most other parts when it came to marching band in this game to be realistic, which I liked. The one unrealistic thing was that the show actually sounded good on day one.
Yeah, maybe we should preface that we are both former marching band kids.
Why do you sound like you're tearing up when you say that?
I am. I'm crying inside, you know?
As a former band kid, did you have a band camp boyfriend?
You know the answer to that.
I want the podcast listeners to know the answer to that too.
Look, no, I didn't. Okay, I didn't. I was gonna say the Bandcamp boyfriend part, the entire premise of the game. I don't think that's realistic either, because I can't think of anyone. I can't think of anyone that had a Bandcamp boyfriend.
Honestly, it's hard to picture anyone in band having a boyfriend, period, but here we are.
Yeah, I can only think of, one relationship, just at all.
Yeah. Yeah, that's kind of what we get for being in band.
Yeah.
All right, speaking of band, so the writing surrounding marching band, the show, preparing for the show, it actually felt realistic. Some things that I wrote down that felt realistic were, say, any mentions of band vocabulary, such as talking about posture and how you move your feet. or say even like things that are less geared towards music, like say the attitude of the freshmen in this game. It felt oddly
Yes,
realistic.
yes.
Yeah.
Most of the characters were pretty realistic.
Oh yeah.
I liked Samuel. He was chill. He was
Yeah.
cool.
He was one of the only competent section leaders in that.
Yeah.
Because the thing that I noticed was that a good chunk of the section leaders, particularly the brass, and no, this is not a woodwinds versus brass thing. This is actually part of the game. Or what
Yeah.
I noticed with the characters, they just either were, say, too harsh or they just didn't care enough. Then again, I don't know much about the brass section leaders that we knew in real life, but chances are that they were, well, much better than the ones in the game.
Yeah. The ones that I know were better than the ones in this game.
Yeah.
I think it's exaggerated for the game, you know?
Yeah, I think with like the section leaders being like this, it does of course add to the story or to the background, because part of the background is that the marching band has been a failing program, so that does make sense. The writing overall was pretty amazing. The writing and dialogue is very fun and engaging, and it's actually pretty funny. All dialogue is, even coming from the player character, is pretty funny, and I actually laughed out loud at a lot of parts, and that's why it took so long to finish the game, because so much of my time was spent laughing.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
It was I liked the voice acting a lot.
Oh
It
yeah,
was
the voice actors
it was
did great.
nice.
The conversations in this actually felt decently realistic to me.
I
But
agree.
yeah.
It was very realistic. Pretty much all of that is stuff that would happen at band camp. Like everything that happened in this game, I could see happening at band camp.
Yeah. And what's great is that it's realistic but not mundane too. So it brings back a lot of nostalgia from being in band and from being in band camp, because these feel like conversations that we either have had or would have had ourselves. So I noticed with the player characters dialogue, the options that you get to choose are actually widely different, which is great for giving players abilities to really have a sway over how the plot goes. Each choice makes it very clear what kind of tone you're going to try to give off. You could be very friendly or mean or flirty, closed off, etc. And you could easily tell the tone in whatever option you've got.
Yeah, that's been a problem that I've had with other visual novels I've played in the past, where I just didn't know what the tone would actually be when I said things. It really helped that it was like very clear.
Yeah. In a video about dating sims that I had watched, it explained that dating sims, ones that make it very clear what's the quote unquote right or the quote unquote wrong choice, help with people actually being able to navigate a conversation like that in real life. And having conversations in this game was actually pretty great. The dialogue was great, so it actually made it enjoyable to interact with characters, even the ones who are written to be unlikable, like, the trumpet. I'm sorry,
Yeah.
sorry. Well,
Yeah.
okay, no, okay, that's being mean. That's being mean. It's not just the trumpet; it's also a woodwind character too,
Yeah, she
or woodwind
is
characters.
annoying.
I like the diversity in the cast because, of course, you're not going to find everyone likable. But even though some characters are mean, a bunch of the characters, all of them, honestly, even the background characters, the ones who have very minor appearances, are memorable and enjoyable. They have distinct designs, voices, tones, and personalities. And not one character, not even the player or the ones with minor appearances, feel bland.
Yeah, I agree.
Do you have a favorite character in the game?
Well, I mean, obviously Doug. Like,
Yeah, sounds about right.
okay, so
I
my
meant-
top three were Doug, Garth, and Samuel. Like those were the ones that I was like, I would go for these guys. But then I was like, but I have to go for Doug because he's a himbo, and that's like, that's perfect.
And then I was gonna ask what you liked about the other two, but then I remembered Garth and French, and I think we should really move on now.
Well, okay, I can talk about Samuel more though.
Yeah, I like Samuel too.
Samuel likes jazz.
Yeah, he's
and
cool.
I like jazz.
He wears sunglasses wherever he goes, including indoors.
He does.
That's cool.
Samuel's just great. He's just awesome.
Out of curiosity, because I know you're a woodwind, and
Yeah.
did you like any brass character at all?
I liked Pop Tart, but
He's so nice.
he feels like my little brother. Because
Yeah.
he's like the same age as my little brother.
Well, yeah.
He's 15. I can't date a 15-year-old. I'm supposed to be a junior in high school in this game, right? Like I can't. Oh wait, it says Candace is 16.
Yeah.
But it still feels weird because he feels like a little brother. He doesn't feel like he should
Yeah.
be a dateable.
God, it was so heartwarming that he gave us a Pop-Tart in return for helping him out on the field. Did you also like Susie?
I liked Susie.
She's so
Susie was cool.
yeah. I thought she's really funny, honestly, because even though she seems like such a sweetheart, I distinctly remember when Pop Tart had complained about the weight of carrying his mellophone up all the time, and then she, the one with the sousaphone, turns to him and says, "What was that?"
Yeah.
Yeah, she got a point.
She does. I mean, he is a year younger than her,
And
but
is also it's
still.
his first year in marching band too. But still,
Yeah.
were there anything that you disliked about the game?
In general, I don't really like visual novels because I'm more of a simulation type of person, you know?
Mm.
So I enjoyed this game specifically, but in general, visual novels are kind of boring to me.
Yeah, I remember having that sort of problem too, which is why I was like a little hesitant to get into this game. And then I played and was like, oh wait, I like the dialogue and this is actually funny to read. Like, I didn't find myself skipping over things intentionally this time. Speaking of skipping, I actually struggled to realize that there is a back button. This is an issue that I found with the user interface design, or at least in my opinion, it was an issue. Even though the design is like amazing, I love all the references to musical notation, it was super easy to overlook how some of the music notes in the corner of the box were actually functioning buttons to help you with the game. Because I initially wrote, there should be a backlog so that if you forget something or if you accidentally skip, like say I did, then you could actually go back and see what you missed. And then it wasn't until I got to the end of the game that I realized there was a button to go back. But my problem is that it took me all the way till I got to the end of the 2-hour play session to find out.
I think it seems like it should have been labeled in some way because like I figured it out at the beginning because I was like, I wonder why these are lit up, but I had to hover over them to see what they did.
Yeah,
So
you don't see their function until you hover over them, which is why I completely missed it entirely.
yeah, because I didn't know what the like fermata did. I didn't know what any of the notes were for. I had to hover over all of it.
Yeah, I found myself thinking it was purely decoration. And so that's why most of the functions, I never saw them until the end of the game where I was just like, bored and moving my mouse around the screen to see what would happen.
Yeah, yeah. I didn't really like that it like just cut off. I know it's a demo. Like you just press the button and then it ends.
Honestly, I kind of disagree on that, mostly just because I'm grateful that for the demo, it's a solid 4 chapters. That's a lot of demo content, in my opinion. We played for 2 hours, like an hour and a half to 2 hours. That's a lot for a demo.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
It is a lot for a demo.
And it makes sense for it to cut off before anything dramatic happened, because when I read the trigger warnings and the content warnings, and then I played the game, I was like, wait, where is any of it? And it makes sense that it wouldn't be in the demo because, it's some very serious stuff.
Yeah, I don't know what route you started taking, but like at the very end, I talked to one of the characters and I kind of got the hints of like some of the trigger warnings. Like I could see it like starting to like become part of the story, but it didn't like get into anything specific. I think it just depends on who you talk to, things like that.
Yeah. I really like the selection of characters, and I know how much we rag on Brass, but I actually did like one. Only one? No, wait, 2. But thing is, Pop-Tart, I wouldn't go after him because he feels like a little brother to me. But the other Brass member that I actually liked was Tom, because even though he was one of the section leaders that I said was honestly a pretty terrible one, but other than that, he's very nice.
He is nice.
Oh my god, what the struggle.
Look, he scared me at the beginning, and then they took their shirts off.
Oh yeah. Yeah, so about the Brass, and part of the reason we keep ragging on them, other than us being woodwinds, and I'm just gonna let people know now, maybe this will entice people to play the game probably, or it'll drive people away, depending on whether you're a woodwind or a Brass, I'm guessing. But but am I wrong? Anyway.
No.
Yeah, the Brass guys do like just take off their shirts at some point. Like, it's solely Tom and Peter, who's the trumpet section leader.
I had to get up for a second, you know? It was, yeah. It was
I
like a
s-
jump scare almost.
oh my god. I just stared at the screen and audibly said to no one in that room but myself, "What is the reason?"
And it happened twice.
Yeah. Yeah, he's funny, and I went for his route because while you said that Doug was your type, Tom is my type actually, a funny gamer.
I understand that. I think
Yeah.
funny gamers are cool. I just want to talk to Garth and Samuel and Doug.
Yeah, Garth was so nice. I think if I weren't to go for Tom, then his route would have been second. Do you have any other comments about this game before we move on?
Wait, we didn't talk about we didn't talk about what is his name? Mr. Wiley
Oh,
at
right.
all.
Actually, I put him in my dislikes because in my dislikes, of course, I wrote that there are certain characters that I don't like, and it makes sense because they're written to be, well, people that you shouldn't really like, people that are clearly rude or disrespectful. But for Wiley, actually, it's a bit of a mixed bag because, of course, he's like an encouraging band director and all, and he's got very funny moments. But I also found that he's severely unprofessional, especially with how he talks to the students.
I agree. So at first I was like, yeah, this guy's funny. And then it was just like, why is this happening? You know? And then also he was just I mean, he's just unprofessional in general. Like,
Yeah.
why did he have a raccoon?
I mean, he's a complex character, but for now, I actually don't like him, and I'm not entirely sure if we're supposed to like him or not, or if we're supposed to have mixed feelings about him. But honestly, I don't like him as a band director.
Yeah, I think him and Susie will probably have like more of a character in the full game, and we'll
Yeah,
be able to tell how we're supposed to perceive them better. But right now, like he's kind of eh. Susie's
yeah.
great though.
Susie's awesome, yeah. But on the other hand, Mr. Wiley leaves a bad impression. At least the writing for the characters overall was great. My favorite part was actually the funny writing because, like I said before, I used to have trouble staying engaged in visual novels, and I actually thought that, or at least in my opinion, with the visual novels that I've played, it felt like the game makers forgot that it's a visual novel, so the writing should be just as good as, if not better than, the art and gameplay elements too. But this game doesn't forget that, and that's why this is one of, if not the only visual novel game that I played that it didn't feel like a chore to get through it.
Yeah, it gives backstory and everything. Like the characters come talk to you and they tell you things that happened in the past and things like that. I think my favorite part was section of the day. I think that was great. I liked seeing the other sections like reaction to who I picked.
So would you recommend this game?
Yeah, it was pretty fun. If you like visual novels, if you like dating sims, yeah. Even if you're not like a band kid like us, then you could enjoy this game. If you are a band kid, if you're a current band kid, it might be a lot, going to band camp in a game. But
It's
I think
daunting. Calm down, the heat isn't real.
but as former band kids, I think we can both say that it's pretty accurate,
Yeah. So I agree with you. I also recommend the game. For one, I recommend it to any band kid, not only because you'll feel nostalgic and such, but also, in no way are any of y'all gonna find romance in the real world. Bandcamp Boyfriend is the only place, the only game, the only way that you are gonna get a boyfriend in Bandcamp. Hey, this may sound harsh, but I think I'm being realistic here. On an actual serious note, I do recommend it to people who enjoy funny and well-written stories with interesting and enjoyable characters and funny dialogue. Considering the content warnings, this story is likely gonna be much more complex and dramatic, which is actually great because this is already engaging and well-written, and it's only in its demo stage. So that's a sign to me, at least, that the writing is gonna be great throughout the rest of the game too, both style and plot-wise. How many tokens do you rate it?
I rate it 8 out of 10 tokens.
Same here. I too rate it 8 out of 10. So, Bandcamp Boyfriend, the Bandcamp Boyfriend demo by Lovebird Game Studios gets a whole 8 out of 10 tokens. Great job, you guys. So, if you guys are interested in playing the full game, go check it out on Steam. If you're interested in the demo itself, go ahead and check out Bandcamp Boyfriend by Lovebird Game Studios over on itch.io. Thank you guys for joining us on this episode of Indie House. Catch us next week on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and Google Podcasts. See y'all on the next level. Bye!